Hey up, it's Steve, that old Yorkshire geek. I'm just typing something. um, Welcome to episode 119 of Magnificent Mondays, and this week, for the final film of of the festive season, we're doing "It's a Wonderful Life" from 1946. Or was it 47? Whatever, around that time. Starring James Stewart and I can never remember the name. Donna Reed. That's it. Yes, so that's what we do. So I'll probably be crying at some point tonight, I imagine. Watched it yesterday and I was because I'm a big softy. But anywho, we've got a guest tonight. My cat's here. Decided to get on the back of my chair. And your princess. There she is. So that's what we're going to do. But before we start, don't forget. There she is. Look, there she is. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. We're live on YouTube, yes we are. We're live on Rumble, yes we are. And we're live on Twitch, yes we are. Don't know why I keep doing Twitch. Don't know why anybody does Twitch. I forgot to change my intro, didn't I? I hope nobody noticed. It said Magnificent Mondays and underneath it said the Christmas Day Bond film. I forgot to change that from when I did the James Bond film intro. It was also there for the New Year's Day Bond film. I'll have to try and remember to change it. Anywho, Windgrace is here saying, I hope you are all enjoying the Feast of Savalas. All lollipops. I've been lollipops, have we? Where were we? Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and me books, Amazon Kindle and paperback, and my websites and my channels and my social medias, Facebook, etc. And my Spotify, blah de blah de blah. Become a member and then you get early access videos and exclusive videos, and I think there's emojis in the chat, I don't know, and all that stuff. Right, like the cool people, like Windgrace and Michael and Adam Gamer and Justin. They're the cool people who are members. Right, so It's a Wonderful Life from 1946. Yes, directed by Frank Capra. Stars James Stewart, Donna Reed, Lionel Barrymore, and loads of other people. It's a Christmas classic. That's all I can say about it. It's a Christmas classic. Although most of it's not set at Christmas, but never mind. Had a budget of $3 million. It didn't do well at the box office, but it's since gone on to become a Christmas classic. Or a classic movie. It's in a lot of directors think it's their favourite film. Spielberg, the late Rob Reiner, and somebody else who I've read and forgot who. Never mind. Might be in my notes. Is it in my notes? Let me check. Edward Zwick. He's done war films, hasn't he? But I can't remember which ones. I get him mixed up with somebody else. Anywho. So anyway, it is a classic flick about a man basically driven to his limit because of his lifetime of living out what he felt were his obligations and putting his own dreams to one side. But anyway, we'll get on with that in a moment. Yes, so we're not going to watch the film because YouTube will go mental. We're going to go through it in a series of stills. I try and remember what happens in it and what I've learned about it, which isn't a lot because there's not a lot on the Blu-ray. There's the colour version we're watching, by the way, which is on the Blu-ray. But there's not a lot of special features. There's no commentaries, no documentaries. The only thing really interesting that's on it is there's what they call it, a trivia track, which isn't a track, it's just a subtitle option of trivia that pops up. And I put it on, watching the film, and I didn't notice any of it because I was busy watching the film. And I kept not paying attention to the trivia that were coming. I was swept away in the movie. But anywho. Right, so I'll put myself down the corner and we'll get on with this, shall we? This classic flick. Is that it? Yes, that's the one. And there I go, down the corner and add it to stage, and we shall begin. Wingray says, filmed from not far from where I live. Right, let's have a look. Where was it filmed? It says here it was filmed all in California. That's where it says it was all filmed. I don't know if there was some, establishing shots maybe filmed some, but it all looks like California to me. But anyway, and then I know you're not in California unless you've moved. Anywho, right. So we'll get on with it, shall we? Here we go. Apparently it's an independent film as well. There we go. Liberty Films, an independent, so it's not a studio film. It was released, I think it was distributed by RKO back in the day, but they're now, I think RKO's catalogue is now owned by Paramount. So anyway, but at the time it was an expensive independent film. There we go. Liberty Films presents Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life. There we go. An RKO radio release. I never understood that. The RKO, a movie. Did they do radio as well? I don't know. I don't know about them. But only thing I know about RKO is they did King Kong. But anyway. This is 1947 there, doesn't it, on the copyright? That says 1947, not 1946. Never mind. Sorry, Wikipedia, you got that wrong. Sorry, not filmed here, says Wingrace. There's a town here. The town here inspired it, and they rebuilt it in California. There you go. So, do you live near Is it Bedford Falls? I think it's Bedford Falls, isn't it? Which always it's the every other town is it that in like popular films it seems to be inspired by Bedford Falls, doesn't it? Another town, Kingston Falls in Gremlins. The town in I forgot to call it now. The town in Back to the Future. Oh God, I can't remember the name of that town now. Anyway, that town, etc. Anywho, right, off we go. Right, get through the credits. There we go. Produced and directed by Frank Capra. You are now in Bedford Falls, it says. All the snow you see in this film, obviously it's not real snow, it was filmed during a heat wave, or partially. I think April to July 1946 it was filmed. And and during a heat wave, particularly at the back end. Hill Valley, yes, thank you, Wingrace, Hill Valley. There we go. Yeah, the two extremes, Hill Valley. That was the Back to the Future town, wasn't it? Anywho, all the snow is not real snow, and apparently before this film they used to use cornflakes painted white for snow. I always thought they used asbestos, but anyway, they used cornflakes. But Frank Capra didn't like the crunching sounds it made when people were walking about. They'd have to redub the dialogue, and he didn't want to do that. He wanted to capture as much on-set dialogue as possible. So they devised a new system, and I'll have to read it because I can't remember it off the top of my head. Here we go. Films made prior to this one used cornflakes painted white for the falling snow effect. Because the cornflakes were so loud, dialogue had to be dubbed in later. Director Frank Capra wanted to record the sound live, so a new snow effect was developed using foamite, a firefighting chemical, which is probably really good for you. Soap and water. This mixture was then pumped at high pressure through a wind machine to create the silent falling snow. 6,000 gallons of the new snow were used in the film. The RKO Effects Department received a Class 3 Scientific or Technical Award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Academy Award, aka Oscar Award, for the development of the new film Snow, which I think is the only award the film got, I think. So let me check. Does it say accolades anywhere? Awards and honours. Yes, it was nominated in the Academy Awards for best, but I don't think it won any. Yeah, the only Academy Award it won was the Technical Achievement Award for the Snow. But it was nominated for Best Sound, Best Film Editing, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Picture, and it didn't win that year. I don't know what won that year, but anyway. I did read something. It were number 2 in the list of films people thought were the best films that didn't get an Oscar. And it was number 2, and I can't remember what number 1 was. never mind. Dear. Wingrid says it's technically a big flop, isn't it? Technically, I suppose. It didn't do well at the time, but has grown into a classic. There's Gower Drugs, which we'll learn about in a bit. Right, so hearing all about George Bailey being an amazing guy, and but then we're going to end up into space soon. But he's in trouble, is George Bailey. And they're all praying for George. I'm filling up now already. They go, please bring Daddy back. Because he's having trouble, is George. He's about to chuck himself off a bridge. Because it's all gone pear-shaped for him. But first, we're heading into space. Because apparently angels are galaxies. I'll tell you what these galaxies are, because that's in my notes. I remember looking for it. If I can find it. The galaxies, see where they're gonna start flashing in a minute. Hang on. Here they are. They'll start flashing. There we go. When they talk, look, they flash like that. Because it's the angels talking. The galaxies used to depict the angels' dialogue in the film are a group of galaxies that astronomers call Stephan's Quintet. After they were discovered by astronomer Edward Stephan in 1877. One of them, NGC 7320, is about 40 million light years from Earth. Don't ask me which. I'm guessing that one, because that one looks closer, doesn't it? While the other four, NGC 7317, NGC 7318A, NGC 7318B, and NGC 7319. By the way, NGC stands for, I think it's New Galactic Catalogue. I think that's what it stands for. At about 210 to 340 million light years from Earth. I can only see 3, but apparently there's 5 in there. There's another 2. Maybe that one there. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, or maybe that. Who knows? Windgrass, New Academy. We don't care. I know you're talking about Star Trek Academy. I don't give a monkeys about Starfleet Academy. I'll watch it, but I'm not expecting much. Anywho, we're talking about It's a Wonderful Life. By the way, nobody talks from this galaxy for some reason. But anyway, so they're talking about George Bailey, who's going to top himself. So the call for, there he is, the call for Clarence, so here he comes. He's not one of these galaxies, he's a little star that appears any second now. Here he comes, he'll come bombing in from stage left. Any second now. Send for Clarence. Here he comes. It's coming any minute now. There he is. Way! Here he comes. Clarence. Dazzling special effects. It's the best one yet because it uses all stuff from classic Trek. All right. As I've not watched it, so I don't know. I've not watched it. Although I did see something about they keep mentioning Cisco, don't they? So that's piqued me interest. They'll just bastardise him. Anyway, so they've called for Clarence, who's an angel who hasn't earned his wings yet, and they're going to send him down to help George. But first, we've got to have a recap of George's life in about half the film, maybe a bit more. But anyway, so they're sending him down. Off he goes. But first, a recap. There we go. We're back in 1919 now when George was, I don't know how old he's supposed to be. It may say that, but they're off on ice. Because remember, this was filmed in the heat wave, by the way, and I think Frank Capra gave them days off occasionally for them to recover, because they were filming in the heat wave, wearing big thick coats and clothes and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's young George Bailey. It's not James Stewart. I don't know who plays young George Bailey. Let's have a look. I wonder if there's anyone that becomes famous. Young George. Let's have a look. Really good young actor, by the way. Is that him? I imagine that's Little George. Robert J. Anderson. So I've never heard of him. Bobby Anderson. He's playing young George Bailey. And they're doing some skating on some ice. So his brother, here comes his brother, Harry. Has it gone through? Yes. Sorry, I've just had a delivery through the letterbox. No, he's knocking. Bear with me. I'm knocking things over. And no, I didn't go to the door in my Santa hat. I didn't go to the door in my Santa hat. Don't know why I couldn't get this through the letterbox. The delivery, everybody's seen that. Got this today. Claire Obscura Expedition 33 for the PS5, because it were on half price on Amazon. It popped up an offer, so I thought, sod that, I'll get that, because it's supposed to be a good game. Right. Hey, where were we? Oh, never mind. I need to try that. This is Winnie Grace. What? Answering the door in a Santa Claus hat. Right, so here they come sliding, and young Harry is going to end up falling through the ice, Dead Zone style. Whenever I see people fall through the ice, I always think of that film, The Dead Zone, with Christopher Walken. That happens in that, doesn't it? Also, I think it also happens in Omen 2, doesn't it? I think. Does it? I think it does. Oh, no, that game. Oh, you want to try that game, yeah. Well, I've got it. It's half price for me, anyway, on Amazon. So it might be on your Amazon as well. Well, nearly half price. Right, and apparently it's a really good game, isn't it, apparently? I probably won't like it now. Anyway, falls through the ice. There he goes. By the way, apparently James Stewart didn't like the colourised version of this film. It looks fine to me. A bit, sometimes the colourised, films sometimes look a bit off, but this one isn't too bad. Anyway, so they save him. So he goes in after him. Does George? But it had an effect. He caught an infection. Got a bad cold, which caused an infection in his ear, and he became deaf in his left ear. So, which is kind of a plot point later, but not really. But anyway, because it cost him his hearing in that ear, so he's deaf in one ear. Is George Bailey. Anyway, right. So maybe afterwards, he spent a long time off school, I think, because of his illness. But anyway, he ends up working at the Gower pharmacy as like his Saturday job or whatever. So here he is going to work at the pharmacy. There he is. This is young Donna Reed. I forgot the name of her character. Mary something or other. Mary Hatch. There she is. Young Donna Reed. Up there, young Donna. Does it say? No, nobody say. Not that I can say. Oh, that was little Mary. Jean Gale is young Mary, who becomes the love of his life. Alfalfa from the Little Rascals has a small part in this. Okie dokie. I'm sure that's in the here somewhere, but don't ask me where, because I don't know anything about the Little Rascals. Although they did pop up, didn't they, in another film we did recently, and I can't remember. Oh, yes, it was in... What were it in? It was in a photo, wasn't it, in a film? And what film was it that we watched recently? And the person in the photo were Alfalfa from the Little Rascals, but an adult version. What film was that now? I can't blooming remember. Anyway, never mind. That's twice then he's popped up. But you have to point him out to me. Anywho, where were we? Oh, she's in love with George. I think she's supposed to be a bit younger than him. By 3 or 4 years or whatever. But anyway, she's madly in love with him. Right, so there's Mr. Gower. We see he's crying, looking very, and he's hitting the booze. Here comes Violet. I can't remember her last name either. But we see all these characters as adults later on. Violet. I don't say her last name in this, never mind. She comes in, and she's also got a little bit of a thing for George. There he's working. He's getting him some licorice stuff and all that. So off they go. He's getting Mary some ice cream, and as he bends over, here we go, he bends over and she whispers into his deaf ear. Does it work like this? I don't know, but she whispered, "I love you till the day I die," but he can't hear her. Well, can't hear through his other ear? I don't know. She must have whispered it really quietly. Anyway, right, so Gower calls him the pharmacist. There you see he's got all tears in his eyes and stuff because he's just had a telegram that his son has died of pneumonia, I think. But he calls it. There we go. Oh, influenza, not pneumonia. Influenza. Because it's 1919, so yes, there's that about the Spanish flu were going round. I think that were around that time, wasn't it? So like a pandemic, wasn't it? So he's very sad about that. But anyway, sends him off to do a delivery of some drugs for some kids that are ill. And George notices that he's put the wrong stuff in. Look, it's on the bottle there, poison. And he notices, but he won't. It tells him go and deliver it, and he doesn't know what to do. So he goes to see his dad next door-ish. His dad runs the Bailey. Essentially a building society. We call them building societies in this country, but savings and loan or whatever building. I don't know what to call it, something like that. It says it on the door. There we go. Building and Loan Association. We call them building societies here. I don't know if there are any left in this country now. They've all become banks now. You used to have Halifax Building Society, Bradford and Bingley Building Society. There were loads of these building societies which were essentially owned by the people that saved money there, didn't they? But then they all got turned into banks and became, corporations and stuff. But anyway, Wingate says, I always keep giant bottles of poison with huge letters on and a big skull and crossbones on. Why? Why do you always keep giant bottles of poison? For poisoning things, I imagine. Anyway, right, so he heads there to see his dad and ask his advice. He doesn't know what to do. There's his Uncle Billy. I don't know if it's real Uncle Billy. They calls him Uncle Billy. He's going to bugger up later on in the film, big style. But anyway. So he goes in, this way we see, this is Lionel Barrymore as Mr. Potter, they owns the bank in town, and he doesn't like the building and loan. Justin's here, I think. Hello everyone, hello Justin. He's always trying to either put him out of business or buy him out and that sort of thing. He's not nice, is Mr. Potter, but he's here having another go at him. And somehow everybody dies around him. He's obviously not a well man. He keeps getting wheeled around in a wheelchair, but he's like outliving everybody. But anyway. So obviously his dad's busy, so he can't talk to him. So he ushers him out. So he goes back and he says he's on the phone to whoever was supposed to be getting this medicine, and they're saying, he should have been there already an hour ago. How long was his dad's? I don't know, but maybe just pondering about what to do. I don't know. So this is the bit in the film that set me off straight away. And he's trying to tell him, you've done the wrong thing, you've put poison, I know you're upset with that telegram about your son. And he starts hitting him, and apparently, he's hit him already, look. He gives him a good clip round the ear, and apparently, there we go, he hit him for real, apparently, this kid. I don't know, he must have done it earlier, because his ears, apparently that's real blood coming out of his ear. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they say. Gives him a clip round the ear, says, he should have delivered that, and he's basically screaming at him. And then he realises he had put poison in, and he's saved these kids' lives. And so he says he apologises, and I'm sat crying watching this. And anyway, so he'd saved those kids' lives, and we see later on what would have happened, if George Bailey had never been born. Anyway, so there he is hugging him. Then we cut to several years later. He's all grown up now. There he is. I don't know how old he's supposed to be here, but this is James Stewart now, who I think was 38 when he made this film. I think he's supposed to be playing somebody in his mid-20s, early to mid-20s here. Oh dear. He's wanting a suitcase because he's going to travel the world. He's going to leave Bedford Falls. That's his big dream. He's going to leave Bedford Falls, travel the world, and all that stuff. He says, I like the colour version, but the black and white is the best. Tell you, can't bloody win, can I? But anyway. So anyway, so it says that suitcase is no good. So he says, "Oh, okay, how about this one?" And says, "Oh, that's grand, is that? No charge." And you see, it's already got his name on it. Is it going to show it? It's already got his name on it. There we go. A present from Old Man Gower. There we go. It's already got his name on. Present from Old Man Gower, who's obviously a lifelong friend now. So there we go. So he's getting ready to go off to see the world and all that stuff. There's Violet, who's grown up as kind of the town floozy now. She used to, go through everybody in town except George Bailey. There she is. Nearly getting run over, or making this fella nearly get run over because he's obviously got to, have a good look. There we go. And that was the noise it made. I'm not lying. Are you listening? Anyway, right. So they celebrate because his brother's there or something. So they're all having fun. Here we are. I can't remember what his brother's doing. I think his brother's leaving as well, or doing something. I can't remember what's happening. But there's a big dance that's happening, the Enchantment Under the Sea dance or something. And they're getting ready for that. And said George is leaving, but I don't think his dad wants him to go. He wants him to stay and look after the business, but he wants to go. And then he says, you go and see the world and all that stuff. And you see, they're quite a well-off family. They've got a maid. But it's kind of, I don't know if is it me or I don't know. I'm reminded of the maid from Scooby-Doo. Not Scooby. I'm talking about Tom and Jerry. Jasper. Anyway, so so he's getting ready to go off, get an education, see the world, blah blah blah, all that stuff. There we go. Right. So here we go. Class of 1928. There we go. Bedford Falls High School. That must be the prom or something. Justin says, I was not picking on you, buddy. I know. I don't know how to say that. GZDR forever. Welcome. Says, I think this is on from Twitch, isn't it? Yes, it is. It says, if you compare A Christmas Carol with It's a Wonderful Life, can you draw a parallel between Bob Cratchit and George Bailey? Pretty much, they're kind of the same story, aren't they? This must be inspired by Christmas Carol, because it's that sort of thing, isn't it? Why wouldn't Cratchit take the easy way out? Do you think George, wanting to unalive himself, was a way to take care of his family through insurance money? Well, yeah, that's what he was going to do, wasn't it? That was his plan, because he was told, later on, we get to spoilers for later in the film, we're told he's worth more dead than alive. I think Potter says that to him, doesn't he? There's a Jamie Stewart biopic coming out, is there? Oh, I didn't know that. 2 years until his 100th school reunion. Yes. I imagine that'll be quiet. Right. So here we are. So they're all having a cool time. There's Sam Wainwright, who's kind of annoying. Can't remember his catchphrase. Oh, there we go. Hee-haw, that's his catchphrase. Kind of goofy. Ends up leaving Bedford Falls and becoming super rich, offering in George Bailey jobs and stuff, business opportunities and all that stuff. And George Bailey eschews all this because of his obligations, or what he feels are his obligations. But anyway, right. So here we see now how great George is and how many friends he's got, and then he sees Mary's back after, I don't know, going to college or whatever, I don't know, but she's all grown up now. So their eyes meet across a crowded room. So they're going to dance. Oh, this fella's talking to her. I don't know who he's supposed to be. I can't remember his name. I've seen him in other films. I don't know. It's not. It's Alfalfa, isn't it? That's him, isn't it? Yes, that's him, isn't it? Because he's got the freckles. Yes, that's him. That's Alfalfa. He's talking to her, but George, shushes him away. Sometimes George Bailey's not a very nice person, although everybody loves him, because he does the right thing 99 times out of 100. He can be rude, very rude at times. But anyway, so he's off dancing with her. Right, but now there's a dance competition, which kind of reminded me of Grease. I thought, they're going to do that Grease thing. I love Grease. So they'll have a dance competition where they're doing the Charleston. That. So they're doing that. Don't know if they're going to win or not. I don't know who wins. But he's not happy. And then this fella comes along, who I think is the devil. Because he acts like the devil. I don't know if we see him again. Maybe we do. I don't know. But he says, look, there's a swimming pool under this floor, and I've got the key. Which apparently, this was filmed in a high school that did have a swimming pool underneath the gymnasium floor. That is in my notes, I think, somewhere. If I can find it. Or maybe not. Maybe I didn't put it in my notes. But it's Beverly Hills High School. That's where it is. And that is a real thing. It is a real swimming pool underneath the gymnasium floor. Anyway, so he's whispering in his ear, saying, I've got the key. You can, humiliate everybody. There we go. George Bailey is dancing right over that crack where the floor opens. So he goes and does it. There we go. It all opens up. And George, for some reason, everybody notices, except for George Bailey and Mary. They're busy dancing their little hearts out, and everybody notices, except for them two. And of course, they end up going in. There they go. Hey, Spladoosh. There we go. That's all hilarious. But instead of it being a humiliation and a tragedy, everybody joins in. Yay! And so he's, it's not happened. What's he going to say? He said, look, he's like, they're like, whatever, we're jumping in as well, but he's the devil. So anyway, right. So they're going home now. They're on this walking Mary home. We can see that they had to find some dry clothes out of the gym chest or whatever. She's got some sort of robe on. He's got a football jersey. And they're singing and dancing their way home. And they're all happy and not in love yet, but they are, but they're not saying they are, if you know what I mean. But you can tell they are. They are meant to be together. He accidentally stands on it's kind of goofy. He accidentally stands on that. And anyway. Then he stands on it again. Why? Oh, yes, by the way, yes, this old house, this old dilapidated house, he calls it their castle and stuff like that. And he loves this house. Or she's saying that, I can't remember. And they do end up living there. But anyway. Yeah, she loves the house. And he's saying, I don't know who he is, but saying, kiss her. Maybe it's her dad, I don't know. But saying, kiss her and get it over with. But they don't get a chance to. But he stands on the robe again. And she ends up, is she naked? I don't know. She might be not far off. And one of his things he tells he's going to throw a lasso around the moon and pull it down for her. That's what he can give her. There we go. Why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death? So, anyway. But he stood on the thing, and now she's hiding in the bushes. And she asks for the robe back, but he won't give it to her for some reason. Nowadays, that'd be creepy, but it was fine back then. But then, suddenly, it gets some chaps arrive in a car, in a taxi. His dad's had a stroke, right? So come home quick. I think it's his dad. Yes, your father's had a stroke. So anyway, his dad dies. And then we cut to, I think it's a few months later. A lot of time jumps in this. And his dad's died, and essentially Uncle Billy and George are the executors of the business and all that now. So you can see he's got the black armband on. And obviously Potter wants to buy out the building and loan, but they've got to vote on it, and they decide not to because he gives him a chewing out as George says, oh, you're an horrible person, and everybody loves this building and loan because they've all got a stake in this town rather than living in your slums and all that stuff. So they decide not to sell to Potter, and all that. He is chewing him out. And so they said he's not done it. By the way, Uncle Billy, for some reason, has got a pet crow that hangs about the office. I don't know why. It's just there. At first, I was thinking, is this some symbolic thing about death? I don't know, but it just seems to be it's there for a long time. We see it a few times. This crow. Apparently, he has other pets. I think that's in my notes as well. Hang on. I think. Just bear with me. Or maybe not. Oh, there we go. Uncle Billy's pets. Are Jimmy, a crow, always seen at the bank, hamsters, a dog, birds, a squirrel, a monkey, etc. I don't know what the etc. refers to. George had a dog when he still lived with his parents, and one can see a bird cage in his second home, and the Martinis own a goat. There you go. A lot of states, pet crows are illegal. I wonder why. That's weird, isn't it? Why is that? Why is it illegal to have a pet crow? How strange. Anyway. So, remember, he still wanted to leave town. He's got his suitcase all ready and stuff with his name on, ready to leave, explore and live his life away from this small hick town. And obviously he's got his obligations now because they come out and said they voted Potter down, but the only way that Potter would give up, or the only way that they'd keep the building a loan going and not sell to Potter is if George stayed to run it. And he's like, no, but I've got to go and do my stuff. So, but no, his obligations have overtaken him. So anyway, then we cut back to the angels talking. So he didn't go. He gave his college money to his brother Harry. His brother went off to college with George's money. And now he's coming back. So I think 4 years pass, and Harry's coming back. So George thinks now that Harry can come back, take over the business, and George can go and do his stuff that he wants to do. But that's not going to happen either, because Harry's got married to Ruth, and her dad owns a business where Harry's going to be in charge or whatever of this business. So so he can't run the building and loan, so George has got to stay, and you see it in his face. Look, you can see it there. Look, he's realising he's not going to be able to leave. But there we go. You can see it there. Look, his realisation he can't leave, but he puts it all aside, and puts a smile on his face, and there we go. He's happy for him and all that stuff. Because that's what nice guys do. This is essentially the film. Nice guys finish last. Except spoilers, they don't. Right, so anyway, so they're all happy. They've been having a party. Uncle Billy's drunk. Somebody's taking a photo of him. And Uncle Billy goes staggering home. And apparently, on this bit, this was an on-set accident, I suppose you could say.
My wife.
Remember, they're using the on-set dialogue and audio and everything. Apparently, that were a real sound. That a stagehand dropped something. Is it in my notes? Did I put it in my notes? Or am I trying to remember it? Here we go. As Uncle Billy drunkenly leaves the Bailey home, it sounds as if he stumbles into some trash cans on the sidewalk. In fact, a crew member dropped a large tray of props right after Thomas Mitchell, who plays Uncle Billy, went off screen. James Stewart began laughing, and Mitchell quickly improvised, "I'm all right, I'm okay." Director Frank Capra decided to use this take in the final cut and gave the stagehand a $10 bonus for improving the sound. Cool. Just it says, a treaty that protects crows and other birds. Okie dokie. There we go. So it says, "I'm all right." Anyway, right, so now he realizes he can't leave. There you go. That's his dreams. Look, South America, New York to Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina. Pardon me. Travel with the foremost student tours. So there you go. I almost went round Europe with the student rail pass. That was fun for 2 weeks. Supposed to be 3 weeks, but we got fed up after 2 and came home. Anyway. So he's going to stay. Obviously. And right, so he's gone for a wonder because he's got a lot to think about. He's a bit fed up. So now Violet's gonna have a talk to him. She says, "Oh look, I think I've got a date. These fellas are wanting, in on the action." But she wants George, does Violet. So she starts talking to him, and George says, "Oh yes, let's go for a walk into the hills and do all this stuff." And she says, "I don't want to do that. I just want to get down to business." She says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Oh, forget about it." And then for some reason, the crowd's gathered and they all start laughing at him, and I don't know why. But anyway. Right, so he's walking along, fed up again. Ends up outside Mary's house. So they have a bit of, not an argument. Well, yes, they kind of do have an argument, don't they? He comes in, he puts some music on. I can't remember the song. He puts a song on. Can we hear it? Can we hear it playing?
I worked there a couple of vacations, but I don't know. I
can't remember the song. It's a famous song, and I can't remember it. I'm blanking. But anyway, obviously she's madly in love with him, but he's got a lot on his mind, and he's not thinking about things like that. And I don't even know why he's there. I don't think he knows why he's there. He's kind of drifting along in he's a leaf in a hurricane. That phrase from the James Bond film. He's kind of like that. But Mary's mother calls down saying that Sam Wainwright's gonna phone up. Remember him that left has become rich. He's going to phone up any minute now. There you go. Sam Wainwright promised to call you from New York tonight, so he's going to call. And anyway, he goes. He has a bit of a row there. But he says, "I don't even know what I'm doing here." So off he goes. He leaves. Does George? But he must hang about outside for a bit because she calls him back in. After smashing this, I think this is a meme, isn't it? I think I've seen this. Oh, I've missed it. Hang on, there we go. Takes the record out and just breaks it. Good old Bakelite. Can't do that with it. Can you do that with records these days? I don't know. But she breaks the record. I've seen that in a meme somewhere, and I can't remember where. But anyway. Right, so she gets on the phone to. Here we go. There he is. She gets on the phone to Sam, and he says, "Oh, can I talk to?" She somehow knows George is there. So she calls him. Oh, he comes back for his hat. That's it. He wasn't just hanging about. He forgot his hat. So he wants to talk to George as well. And this is where I think he offers him, like an opportunity in plastics. Put money on this stuff that he's doing. But he says, no. He gets angry for some reason. He gets angry, and he gets angry with Mary. She starts crying, and they end up kissing. There we go. And they get married after that. So there we go. So she goes running off, thinking, she wanted her to marry Sam. Just as I'm a lot like George, and nice guys finish last. Sometimes, most of the time, but not in this case. Anyway, right, so here we go, they get married. I think it's supposed to be like 20, I'm sure they mentioned it 27. But as I said, James Stewart was 38 when he made this film, but never mind. So they're getting married, here they are. And it takes them, the taxi driver, who's like a lifelong friend, the taxi driver and the policeman, and I don't know the names, but they keep popping up, like lifelong friends of George. Takes them to their castle awaits. Is that later? No, that's later. Because they're going to head out somewhere. They're going to go travelling with all. He's got a big wad of money, for the wedding gifts and all that. They've got a load of money. So that's where they're saying they're going to go to New York and Bermuda and all this stuff on their honeymoon. But then suddenly there's a commotion in town, and it's the walls. Well, the banks are foreclosing and all that stuff. All that's happening. People going into the banks, drawing all the money out. Must be the Wall Street crash or whatever. But it can't be, can it? Because that was 1929, wasn't it? And now we're in 1930. Well, at least 1932, I think. But anyway, somebody's drawing their money out of the bank. So it opens up the building and loan, and people are coming in wanting their money. And he says, well, we haven't got your money. That's not how it works. You don't give us the money and we just leave it there. It goes into the other buildings and lending it to other people and all that. They've got to find a way now to sort this out because people are wanting their money. So he ends up talking them into not taking all the money, just taking some. He uses his own wedding money. To lend them some money to keep them going, while things get sorted out. That's what he does, and basically saves the business doing this, using his wedding money. But Mary's not angry about this. She goes off and does something else while he's doing this. So the business is saved. There we go. They're counting down to the close of business. They've got $2 left. So the business is saved. So they're all happy. Right, so he's got to go home to 320 Sycamore, which is that building that Mary loved or something. And somehow they've got it. I don't know if it's been given to him or if he's bought it or if she bought it. I don't know. It might say. I don't know. I never noticed. But anyway, so he ends up there. What's going on? And we see that it's where he's going to have his honeymoon. Looks lovely, doesn't it? So anyway. So there goes. She's set up a table and she's got some chickens roasting over an open fire with a record player acting as a spit. Yeah. So obviously, it doesn't matter where they live. That's basically what they're saying. It doesn't matter where we live as long as we've got each other and we're in love. Blah blah blah. There we go. And then I think we're going to have another time jump. There we go. We see now that is it going to show? Let's go back a bit. No, it don't. The built after I don't know how many years have passed now, but the Bailey Building and Loan is built like an estate. What do you call it? A housing thing. Is it this? Or are we coming? Yes, there we go. Bailey Park. There we go. Where they're starting to build houses for people. Affordable housing. That's what I'm trying to say. But good quality stuff. There's Sam Wainwright visiting with his driver and all that 'cause he's loaded. Anyway, so we see they all love George Bailey, but he's not happy about it. His Potter, played by Lionel Barrymore, by the way. So they're still trying to find ways to stop that pesky building and loan company from doing all these nice things. And anyway. So off they go, and he's got his old car, and anyway, so he's been summoned to see Mr. Potter. He gives him a big fat cigar and offers him a job on $20,000 a year, and he's tempted to take it because he saw how well Sam Wainwright were doing. That's why we're looking at his old car. And they think, how can he do better? And this is where I think we learn that his age and how he doesn't earn a lot of money running the building and loan. Although his dad seemed to do quite well, didn't he? They had a maid and everything. But anyway, never mind. Obviously his dad must have been a better businessman, even though we keep being told he wasn't. But anyway, so he offers him a job on $20,000 a year, which was a hell of a lot of money back then, wasn't it? But and he thinks about it, and then for about 2 seconds, and then says, "Oh no!" By the way, I've noticed his chair's a lot lower, than Potter. Potter's got to sit higher than them, haven't they? They've got low chairs for the people that come to see him. There you go, 20,000 a year. That's my impression of James Stewart. So anyway, so he says, "No, I'm not selling out to you because you're an horrible person." The answer is no, doggone it. So off he goes, and he might regret that decision later. So he goes home to his home, which is still a bit dilapidated. I don't know how many years have passed, but it's still a bit. They're still working on the house, basically. He's got his thing, look, lasso the moon. Although it does kind of look like a Death Star, but anyway. So it's where we learn she's having a baby, and she has a boy, I think. Is it? Hang on, where is it? Is it a boy or a girl? They're going to tell us. Never mind. Pardon me. Oh, there we go. He has a boy, and then he has a couple of other kids as well. While they're at it, you know that princess? She's gorgeous. Sorry, my cat's helping out tonight, aren't you? Yeah. So they've got. I think they end up with 3 kids. She's doing some decorating, and then I think the war happens. So they're all doing their part for the war effort. And but for some reason Potter became head of the draft board. I don't know why, but obviously George can't go because of his deaf. He's deaf in one ear, so he can't go. But his brother goes off to fight. There we go. We're learning what they all got up to. Harry, there we go. Harry Bailey topped them all. Navy flyer shot down 15 planes with some stock footage of real people dying. 2 of them as they were about to crash into a transport full of soldiers, so he saved loads of soldiers' lives, and he ended up getting the Medal of Honour. So George did his own bit, drives and stuff, and air raid wardens. I don't know, there was much call for air raid wardens in America back then. I suppose you didn't know, did you? It's not like London, is it, in the Blitz? But you never know. There you go, paper drive. That's not a paper drive, is it? Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so they're all doing their bit for the war. There we go. President decorates Harry Bailey. Local boy wins Congressional Medal of Honour. Seated to celebrate Heroes' Homecoming. Yay! Commander Harry Bailey, famous Navy air ace, born and raised in Bedford Falls, was decorated yesterday with the nation's highest honour. Bless him. Bless him. See if we got a date. Has he got a date? No date on it, is there? But it costs 5 cents, and it's going to snow. Look, it says snow tonight. Because I think we're getting to the crux of the matter, I think. Anyway, does it start snow? Oh, yes, there's snow there, look. So he's bought newspapers for everybody. He's handing them out to Mr. Gower and all his friends. And Harry's coming home, to show off his medal, I suppose. Anyway, right, so yes, we're getting to it now. He's on the phone. Is Harry? They're all happy to hear from him. But there's a bank inspector has arrived. There he is. So they're gonna have to deal with him. What's his face? Uncle Billy has gone to the bank with an envelope with $8,000 in, which I don't know is what their takings or whatever. I don't know, but it's the money that the bank really needs to put, the building a loan needs to put in the bank. Anyway, so he's got to deal with this bank inspector. Meanwhile, dopey old Uncle Billy's there with his $8,000 in that envelope, and it all goes wrong because he does a Janet Leigh in Psycho for some reason, puts the money in the newspaper. Justin says, remember air raid wardens were the men on the coast, and also the U-boats West Coast Japan hit us with balloon bombs, and their subs shelled a few spots. Didn't go through the Blitz though, did you? Neither did I. But anyway, yeah, he shows in the newspaper, and for some reason, I think he folds up. See, he's got the money there, the envelope with the money there. So he folds up the newspaper and gives it to Potter or whatever, for some weird reason. Does it show it? There you go. He just folds it up and just gives him the newspaper. So the newspaper's now got $8,000 in. So he's an idiot. He's an idiot, as Uncle Billy. Does it mean he's got to tie string to his fingers to remember things? Anyway, so he goes to pay the money in, and then he realises he hasn't got the money on him. He don't know what he's done with it, so Uncle Billy's panicking now. Of course, Potter finds the money. He knows whose it is, because he knows who gave him the newspaper, and he's looking out. He knows what's going on. He sees Uncle Billy panicking. Doesn't give him the money because he's evil. So anyway, right. So meanwhile, while this bank inspector's still there, Violet's there. She's decided she's going to leave town, but she needs to borrow a bit of money. Look, is there still there with his bloody crow? So he lends her some money to go. There we go, it's a loan. And so she's leaving town. But Uncle Billy says, I can't find that $8,000. I've lost it. So they don't know what's happened. And it ends up getting angry. There we go. It ends up grabbing hold of Uncle Billy. You silly old bugger. You know what you're doing with that? Somebody's going to go to jail for this, and it'll not be me. Bill says George, I mean. There you go. So he goes off, and poor Uncle Billy's inconsolable. Oh, there with this squirrel. He's got a squirrel look. Right, so he goes home, does George. Not happy. We see they've got the Christmas decorations up. Apparently, I think it's Christmas Eve now, I think it's Christmas Eve. His daughter's practicing piano for the school recital or whatever. So he's got a lot on his mind. He's snapping at the kids and all that. But first we see, though, he's getting all upset, and I'm probably sat roaring watching this. But he starts snapping at the kids, and he goes out, and he goes to see Mr. Potter in a bit, you know. So, one of the kids is ill upstairs. He's got an infection or whatever. She'll be fine. But so he's got worrying about his kids, worrying about that money, worrying about this, that, and the other. And also, a running gag is that the banister, or whatever the hell these things are called, the knob off it keeps coming off. He keeps having to put it on, and he nearly throws it. Look, ooh, you know, we've all been there, haven't we? When things have gone wrong, you just want to punch a hole in a wall, don't you, or a door, or whatever. And he's that close, but he doesn't. He puts it back. But we can see it's building up inside him. Anyway, so he's she gives him a flower. She says some of the petals have come out, so he puts some of the petals in his pocket and he gives her the flower back. Says they're good as new, because she told him to stick the petals back on, but obviously he can't. But anyway, so off he goes. Meanwhile, Mrs. Welch, who is the girl's teacher, I can't remember her name, Zuzu or something. What they call a kid Zuzu for? I think it's Zuzu. Are they credited? I don't know. What the hell's Zuzu short for? I have no idea. Why has she not got a credit? I'm sure it's in there, because they probably owned it in the studio. Anyway, she phones up asking how she is, and obviously George snatches the phone and says, "What sort of teacher are you?" Because she caught the cold, they say, because she got that flower and she didn't want to break it in her coat, so she came home without a coat, or with the coat open, or something. But yes, sounds like a lesser demon, doesn't it? Yes, it does, doesn't it? One of Pazuzu's mates. So he gives her a shouting at down the phone. Look, Mary's trying to get the phone off him, but she tries to apologise, but she hangs up. But then her husband is on the phone, and then we go Mr. Welch, so he shouts at him, and anyway, so we'll meet Mr. Welch in a bit. Anyway, so he gets angry with the kids, and then he goes and kicks over this model of some bridge. Is this things that they're gonna wanted to build in Kingston Falls, in Bedford Falls, some sort of building and a suspension bridge? I don't know, but he goes and kicks the bugger over anyway, because it's like I say, he's at the end of his tether. There we go, cake. We've all been there. We've all wanted to smash models. So he apologises, but he's cross with them, and says, "Oh, you carry on playing," because he'd shouted at her. Says, "Stop playing that piano, it's doing me head in." So everybody's crying, and I'm sat crying as well watching this yesterday. Anyway, so off he goes to see Mr. Potter to see if he can borrow $8,000. And Mr. Potter says, "No, I'm not lending you $8,000 because I don't like you." Basically, he doesn't say, "Oh, I found this money here. Is this yours? Is this your $8,000?" He doesn't say that. He could have done that, couldn't he? He could have said, "But you owe me now, a favour or whatever." No, he just wants to ruin him. And he does. He actually puts a warrant out for his arrest. But it says all he's got is collateral. So there's a $15,000 insurance policy, which is there you go, equity's $500. That's all he's got. So he puts a warrant out for his arrest. He says, you're going to go to jail and all that. So this is where he goes to the bar, starts boozing. I think that's Mr. Welch who's gone out boozing as well. So he's praying and all that. And I think he actually did start crying properly here. And they kept the camera rolling. Yes, because he did actually get genuinely upset. Anyway, so yes, that's Mr. Welch. So he punches him. Mr. Welch punches him. How dare you speak to my wife like that? So he knocks him. So the boot out Mr. Welch. Say, you go home. You alright, George? He's like saying, oh, I'll be alright, I'm going. And he goes and drives his car and crashes it into a tree. Hang on, in a minute. He gets into his car. Have I missed it? I've missed where he crashes it into the tree. Yes, he does. Hang on. Come on, where are you? There we go. So he's drinking and driving, which is never a good mix. But it's probably not easy driving with all this soap and water and fire suppression chemicals on the road. It's probably a bit slippery. But anyway, crashes into that tree. And then just leaves his car. This fella plays with him. My great-grandfather planted this tree, he says. So anyway, he's going to jump off this bridge. But he sees somebody else is in trouble in the water or something. Is he thinking about it now? Somebody else. There we go. There's Clarence. That's Clarence, by the way, the angel. He jumps in. There you go. He jumps in, forcing George to jump in and save him. So they get out. This fella, some worker on the bridge, I don't know, toll booth man, I don't know, whatever. He's looking after, drying their clothes, and Clarence is saying, I'm an angel, I saved your life, I jumped in so that you wouldn't jump in, but he jumped in. They could have both died, well, he thinks he's an angel, but you know what I mean. They could have both been swept away, but anyway, the plan was for him to stop George jumping in to end his life, to make him save somebody else's life, or something. But anyway, so he keeps saying, I'm an angel, and you shouldn't go around topping yourself, because I think that's illegal, isn't it? Oh, it was back then. Is it these days? I don't know. There you go, angel second class, but he hasn't got his wings yet. If he helps George, he'll get his wings, and we know when an angel gets their wings, a bell rings every time an angel gets their wings. But anyway, so there goes his guardian angel. So anyway, basically, he says, there you go. It'd been better if I'd never been born at all. That's what George says. And so he says, right, we'll show you what life would have been like if you had never been born at all. And this is where it goes all back to the future too, doesn't it? Yes, Jimmy Stewart from PTSD. Yes, that's when he had that episode. That's when he broke down, didn't he, sobbing in the band. That's the take that they used. I think it is in my notes, actually. Yes, while filming the scene in which George prays in the bar, James Stewart was so overcome that he began to sob. Frank Capra later reframed and blew up the shot because he wanted to catch that expression on Stewart's face. This is why the shot looks so grainy compared with the rest of the film. There you go. Or a bomber pilot, I didn't know what he did, but he did his bit, didn't he? Anyway, the greatest generation. Anyway, so it says, right, okay, you're going to see what life would have been like if you'd never been born. So off they go with their dry clothes. Oh, yes, and we see that the clothes are dry. He's not got blood anymore. Because history's been changed. And it does kind of go back to the future too now. When it goes back to Hill Valley and Biff has taken over, it's like that now in Bedford Falls. Right, so off they go to check out the town, and he says, where's my car gone? Because he doesn't believe that history's changed. He says, where's my car? Crashed it in this tree. And anyway, we learn that the town is not called Bedford Falls anymore, it's called Pottersville. Anyway, So off they go and see that Pottersville's turned into a den of iniquity. And it's all, all different people there. It's the same people, but doing different things and acting differently. Kind of like the mirror universe, sort of. Anyway. But he doesn't understand what's going on. And he keeps telling him, we seen how life is like, but, if you'd never been born. But, he don't believe him. Keeps telling everybody he's an angel, just like Michael Landon. Anyway, in comes Mr. Gower, old man Gower, remember the pharmacist. And they kick him out because he's just an old drunk now. And says, it's old man Gower, the pharmacist. And says, if you know him, you must have been in prison too, because he served 20 years for poisoning some kids to death. So, because obviously George wasn't there. He'd never been born to stop him poisoning those kids at the beginning of the film. Anyway, so they leaves that place, and they go to the next thing. I see that he hasn't. There's no ID on him, and the things in his pockets, his life insurance and all that, is not there anymore. And Zuzu's petals have disappeared out of his pocket because it's, if he'd never been born. The bomber force has suffered the most death on the Western Front, I imagine. So, there's that film in the Memphis Belle where they often didn't last very many missions, did they? Anyway. Right, so this is where we see Pottersville has become, like Biff Tannen's running the town. With pool, billiards, fights. They're fights. Midnight club dancing, bamboo room cocktails, and all that. What does that say? Acts all-star cast, and anyway, so burlesque. It's a burlesque show. Look, what's gone on with this town, eh? It's just all clubs and bars and having a good time. And what's happening there? And there's Violet, who's I don't know, a prostitute or whatever. I don't know. But there you go. He wants to jump in a cab. He's the same fellow that's been his lifelong friend, but obviously he doesn't know him anymore. Wants to take him to his house, 320 Sycamore. But obviously it's not there anymore. Well, it is there, but it's just a dilapidated old house like it was before. Don't know why it's like that. Does it explain it in the film? I don't know. But it's probably haunted. But he's looking about. He's calling for men, but obviously he's not there. He hasn't twigged yet, obviously. But they're going to sort him out, and I think he punches the policeman, or something. And but Clarence saves him. I think he does some magic here. I think he disappears. The policeman grabs hold of Clarence, and then Clarence, I think he just vanishes. I think they're going to show it. Yes, there he goes. He just vanishes into thin air because he's an angel. There we go. Cool. And what's going on? And he saw it all happen. He says, "I'm out of here. I need a drink." Anyway, right. So, he goes. Does he go home? Yes. Goes to his house, Ma Bailey's boarding house. She doesn't know him. He says, "Mother." "I'm not your mother. Who are you?" She doesn't know him, so sends her away. No vacancies. Full up inside. Right, so Clarence is there. Said, what's going on? Said, I told you, it's like you'd never been born. Anyway, so he finds the grave of Harry Bailey, because he wasn't there to save Harry's life when Harry fell in the water through the ice on the frozen lake. He wasn't there, died in 1919, and all that. Meanwhile, Justin's giving us lessons on the war. Stuart was a general. I have no idea. Clark Gable was a major, flew 5 combat missions and almost died on one. He also saved a crewman. Good for Clark Gable, very good. Anyway, so there you go. He saved the lives of every man on that transport. He got the Congressional Medal of Honor, says George. He says, no, he didn't, because he died. You weren't there to save him, and all the people on that transport died, and all that stuff. So you see, George, you really had a wonderful life, even though it kind of turned to crap by, in the last bit. But don't throw it all away. But he wants to go find Mary now. So tell me where she is. So he gets angry a lot. He's got like anger issues. He seems to have anyway. You know that, Princess? Am I moving about too much? He's got angry, so he's always grabbing people by their collars. So tell me this and that and the other. So he says, tell me where Mary is. Says, well, she never married. She became like a spinster. I don't know the exact term they use. It might be that. So she works at the library because that's where spinsters always work, in the library. Says, tell me where she is. It's about to close up the library. Does it say? Hang on. Does it say? An old maid. That's it. She's an old maid. She's never married. Anyway, so he finds her at the library. You can see there she is. Look, she's all very prim and proper. She's never married. You can tell. Don't know what they've done to her face. Have they just made her look dirty, or it looks like she needs a wash? I don't know. Or I don't know, but she looks different. So obviously she doesn't know who he is. Says, I'm your husband, you're my wife. She doesn't know what he's talking about. So she goes running into here and says, get him away from me. And, it's all crazy. So he goes running out, back to the bridge. He says, what's going on? He says, give me back my wife and kids. I'll do better. And all that stuff, The ghosts of Christmas have taught him a lesson, just like Tom Paris. And all that. I want to live again. And then suddenly it's all back to normal. And this police car arrives and says, George. He recognises him, so he's back to being George again. Back to being alive again, if you know what I mean. Because the blood's back from where Mr. Welch punched him. So it's all back. So you know who I am. And yes, enough, Q. Take me out of this fantasy. Anyway, so the policeman saying, I saw your car piled into that tree. I thought maybe you should be all right, and I'm going to start filling up soon in a bit. So he takes him home, or he heads. Oh, this is the famous scene now where he's running through the town, saying "Merry Christmas, Snooker Hall," or whatever he says. Merry Christmas, George. Merry Christmas, Cinema. I can't remember. Merry Christmas, you wonderful old building and loan. So anyway, so he gets home, and the bank examiner's there, and I don't know, some sort of policeman or whatever, FBI, feds are there with an arrest warrant. So he's willing to go to jail as long as he's got his wife back. And his wife had nipped out. She'd done some, I don't know, looking after the kids, I don't know, but she's nipped out to deal with something. And the kids are all there. They're all happy, and he's loving his kids, and she comes back, and then suddenly all the town come in. She must have made some phone calls or something, I don't know. But George is in trouble, and the whole town comes in. Look, they've all had a whip round, and they've got loads of money for him. He's the richest man in town now. Yay, everybody's happy. So Potter won't get his way, and George won't be arrested, and the building and loan saved. And silly old bugger, it's still a silly old bugger, but he's happy now. And even one of the policemen or the bank inspector or whatever chips in, because it's Christmas and everybody's happy, and God bless us, everyone. And look, they're all super happy. And I think Harry arrives at the last minute. I think. Yes, and Sam Wainwright has sent a check or something for $25,000. So there you go. She's playing some music. And we hear a bell ring on the Christmas tree, and that's when Clarence has got him going. Clarence has got his wings. Anyway. Sorry, I'm just having a minute. There we go. So Harry's back with his Congressional Medal of Honor. They're all happy. The family's all together, and they're all happy. And then he's got the book. There we go. He opens it up. It's Tom Sawyer, isn't it? I think, yes. There we go. Dear George, remember, no man is a failure who has friends. Thanks for the wings. Love, Clarence. Going. Wingate says, moral of the story, check all newspapers for unattended cash. Yes. What's his face should have done that, shouldn't he, in Psycho? What was it, $30,000? Anyway. Yes, great movie. Anyway, so there we go. So, all singing Auld Lang Syne. There we go. A bell rings, so he's got his wings. And everybody's happy. And the building alone is saved, and George is saved, and we're all happy, and I'm crying, and... Because it just sets me off. Cool film. There you go, Legend Films, leader in restoration and colorizing technology. Can't spell colorizing, right? So there we go. So that's the classic flick. It's a Wonderful Life, an amazing film. That's it. Got it on Blu-ray. It's that good. The best films ever made. So there we go. And it does set me off. It does, stuff like that. It does set me off. I get all lump in my throat-ish. Anyway, yeah. I don't know how it didn't win any Oscars. I don't know. What did win in that year? Would it be 1947? I don't know. 1947 Academy Awards. Let's have a look. The 19th Academy Awards. Let's have a look. Winner for Best Actor, James Stewart were nominated for It's a Wonderful Life, but the winner was Frederick March in The Best Years of Our Lives. What else were nominated? I think it got 5 nominations, didn't it? I think. Have a look. Come on, where are you? Where's all the nominations? It's a Wonderful Life. Got nominated for that for Frank Capra. Winner, though, was William Wyler for Best Years of Our Lives. I've never seen it. What else? Editing. Best Years of Our Lives. It looks like Best Years of Our Lives swept the board in 1947. It won again for Best Music. Must be a good film. Best Editing. Best Motion Picture, Best Years of Our Lives. Yeah. So there you go. So it didn't win in the only Academy Award it won was for a technical thing, for the snow that they created for it. But Best Years is a great movie. I've never seen it. It won loads of Academy Awards. This movie it sets me off. It don't take much though to set me off, does it? But anyway, so there we go. So that's it. Great film. I'm sure it's on Amazon and you can watch it. It's probably on YouTube. You can watch it, and it is kind of like A Wonderful Life. It's about the war or after the war. Good movie. I will have to look it up on your recommendation. Right, so there we go. So that was the last film of the festive season with a festive, bent to it. So the trimmings, the decorations are going down tomorrow on the 6th. Don't know what I did that for, but anyway. Yeah. So I've no idea what I'm going to do next. I have nothing coming up, but I'll think of something. Right, so we're all done and dusted. We'll leave it there. Let's say, go and watch It's a Wonderful Life before tomorrow, before the Christmas season ends. If you've never seen it, you're missing out. It's an amazing film, and you'll be sat crying like me, like a silly old bugger. I sat watching it, I had the cat on me. She was on my chest as I was watching it purring away, and I was like, she kept looking at me as though something were up. What's up with you, silly human? Yeah. Ignoring me. Right. So we'll leave it there. I'll put the thing back on. There we go. But don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. As I said, I don't know what's coming up next. I've got some new DVDs actually. Not DVDs, Blu-rays. I've got some new new Blu-rays. So let's have a look what we've got. If I can find them. So what have we got today? Got Alien Romulus. I wasn't a huge fan of, but were on offer. I get Prey, that were on offer. So I got that as well. But I do like that one. Now I got this one. I've not seen this, but Sinners, supposed to be a really good film. Oh, excuse me. Supposed to be a really good film. And I've not seen it. I bought it on the recommendation that it's supposed to be a really good film. And I hope it is, because I wasn't impressed by Weapons, I've got to admit. What else? Final Destination Bloodlines, one of my favourite films of last year. That came 1, 2, 3, fourth, I think, didn't it? In my top 5 of last year. And Five Nights at Freddy's, the first one. So we'll do one of them this Friday. Don't know which one yet. We will see. We will see. We will see. I got some, by the way, speaking of Christmas stuff. While we're at it, let me move these again. Yeah. Hey. What did I get for Christmas? There we go. That's something I got for Christmas this year. A Judge Dredd Annual 1987. I got that this Christmas. I got these last Christmas, but I've just got them out to have a look at. A 2000 AD Annual 1987 and a 2000 AD Annual, I forgot what it is, 1991. Cool. And I've got another one up there, 1986. I've got 2 of those now. Because I'm dopey. Justin says, all 3 are good. Sinners is real good. Freddy's good. Yes, I've seen them all them. I've seen them all apart from Sinners. But anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. Right, so thanks Justin and Win Grace and I don't know how to say your name, GZDR4EV over on Twitch for joining in. Nobody said anything on Rumble. No, they haven't. I've just checked. Right, so we'll leave it there. So. Thanks for watching, wherever you are. I will wish you this last time a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, because it's all going tomorrow. So, until next time, look after each other, and I'll say this.